MP on the mic. It's Wednesday. It's 10:30. That didn't used to mean anything, but that does mean something now, and I'm pretty fired up about that. We've got two guests with us in studio. This is exciting. We're kicking off Wednesdays 10:30, the Play Chesterfield hour here on MP on the mic. I've got J.C. Poma. What's up?
MP, how are you, man?
I feel great. I'm excited about this. And John Phillips, Dr. Phillips. We have two Phillipses. I'm the professor, Professor Phillips and Dr. Phillips in studio here. Director of Constituent Services. Did I get that right?
Yeah, we'll cut it right there.
Cut it right there. And VHSL liaison,
Yes,
which is important this time of year. So we're going to have, now you guys are in here today, but starting next week, we're going to spotlight each of the different schools and programs, and there's a ton of them. Chesterfield, it's a big place. You guys have a lot under your umbrella, a lot going on athletically, of course. So we're excited to get a chance to spotlight the athletes, the stories, and we'll do football, of course, but we'll do all the sports as well. Give them their time and their opportunity to shine. Because there's a lot of kids out there playing a lot of sports this time of year. And so, JC, I'll start with you. Just what's getting you excited these days in Chesterfield?
Well, MP, man, thanks for having us on. Really appreciate this partnership with CCPS and the team here at MP on the mic. But this started a long time ago. We've really been discussing, and you know better than anyone, the evolution of local sports media, and we're thrilled to still have you a part of that now in this role.
Hanging on.
And it's really something we want to showcase, all of these stories, these athletes, these coaches, these teams that are ingrained in our sports community. You know, let's look on the football side for a minute. They've grown up playing on the fields in Chesterfield with perhaps Chesterfield Quarterback League, CQL, and gone on to play at their respective high schools. Those stories used to get told in great features and segments, and that's nothing against the media landscape today.
It's different.
But our role as Chesterfield County Play Chesterfield is to work with schools and better tell those stories, and no better way than to do it with you. And we're excited to work with schools, get the DSAs. I think we used to call them ADs back in our day. But we've got so many stories, and we want to get back into that grassroots storytelling and showcase all that is going on our fields and courts and any other type of surface in Chesterfield County.
I love it. And Play Chesterfield is the umbrella here that we're working under, the new branding. I got a spiffy Play Chesterfield polo here.
I think we need to get Dr. Phillips on. He's missing out.
I need one of those. I've got the hat.
We were talking because our crew will be out there for the fan game of the week. It'll be Battle of Chester, LC Bird and Thomasdale, and just the great history. And this isn't a new thing. This is going back generations. But as you think about just everything going on out there in Chesterfield and the sports, so what are the things that you think are you'd like to spotlight here as we talk about Chesterfield sports?
No, I appreciate that. I think foremost, to emphasize JC's point, I mean, athletics and even the VHSL academic activities breathe such life into the culture of school buildings. Former principal, that'll be something that I miss the most. You just have an opportunity to have such a good time, learn your families, your unique athletes, your students, and that part of the culture is just fantastic. And so heading into the fall, there's a lot to celebrate. I mean, you started with the Battle of Chester, right? So I think Thomasdale's won the last four. I know the principals right now actually have a little wager on the line, who winner is the loser, has to wear the other school's jersey for a week. So,
shame.
But I think Bird, so Dale's taking the last four, but Bird owns the series. That's 27-23. So I don't think you can start fall season without talking about the Battle of Chester.
No, Bird had it. Bird had that great run, but Thomasdale and Ethan Minter last year, last few years,
yes,
they're loaded, and I think this one's going to be a particularly good one. It's going to be a ton of fun. Sure. You mentioned just getting to know the students in the sports. What are the benefits for the kids of just being involved in, as we talk about the world of Instagram and cell phones, that sports is still the place where everybody puts them down and gets out there and gets together.
It's that connection piece, and I think you kind of talked about that with the involvement or the engagement. I know that as we start a school year and you're sitting here in the fall, and you think about an incoming ninth grader who's already involved in cross country or golf or football, field hockey, girls volleyball. It just gives them that connection to the school, gets them more acclimated. And then the team concept. We have some wonderful coaches. We talked about the student athletes, but we have some wonderful coaches, some long-standing ones in the county as well that really do a nice job of teaching that team concept.
We'll bring them together because Vic Williams is on the list for the
right.
Chesterfield Sports Hall of Fame, of course, legendary Thomas Dale football
213 wins, I think it was.
Is that good? That sounds good.
That sounds right? You're the professor.
Gary dropped it on me the other day. I believe he said there's only 6 coaches in area history who have won 200 with one school.
Wow.
And Vic, of course, is on that list. And over at Highland Springs, they're going to add another one this year to the area list. So that's pretty cool. What is it that makes Chesterfield so unique?
I've been in Chesterfield now for 18 months, and what has gotten me from day one is going back to that word grassroots. We have so many local organizations that don't just breed great athletes. They breed, you mentioned it, Dr. Phillips, breed great families, that connection piece. And so I've been more excited to tell those stories in a very small way. We have a high school football podcast in Chesterfield now, thanks to our great constituent and media services teams. Those are the stories that we have to get out there and tell. And you look across the board, and it kind of culminates at the high school level and beyond, which is the impetus for our Hall of Fame. But when you really look back across the landscape of grassroots sports, I've met with so many folks in Chesterfield. You mentioned field hockey, the Panthers field hockey program. What they breed at that level is the greatness. The Miners Wrestling Club. It's not just what we call co-sponsored sports groups in Chesterfield that play on our public fields. There are public and private groups all across the county that have great leadership, great families, great coaches, great stories. And, while we handle events on those fields, we get to see some of those stories. But what goes on behind the scenes to get recruited to a college, just play at the high school level, it takes hard work and dedication, and it just means so much to us to see what that means to our families. And, just tagging us on social media, I can't get over just stories we've heard in the last, 6 months of launching Play Chesterfield, from the Olympics on downward. That look at Kelly Wells Brinkley. That's why
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. It's just amazing the stories that come out of a community of 380,000+ people.
You mentioned that media team. You guys have quietly been assembling a dream team over there. My guy Brad Franklin was at the UVA game.
Yep.
We were sitting next to each other on Saturday. J. Elias O'Neill, of course, is a name a lot of people know. It's a great storytelling team that's been assembled over there in Chesterfield. So Play Chesterfield will be featured here. MP on the mic every Wednesday, 10:30. We'll have a different school bring on. I was going to say ADs, but it's
DSAs now, right?
DSA.
Dr. Phillips.
Director of Student Activities.
We'll
That's
have
right.
we'll have
Lots
some
of activities.
DSAs. We'll have some athletes. We'll have some fun talking about all the great stories. Dr. Phillips here, Professor Phillips on the mic on 910 The Fan. Do you want to hit us with some storylines to watch this year in Chesterfield?
Well, I mean, we covered the Battle of Chester coming up. I don't think we can talk football without talking about Matoka since we started there. So returning 5C champions, and I think they've got 5 now, Power 5 commits in the senior class. So again, talking about those unique stories. And then how about MBK, right? So coach with grassroots, they've doubled in size their program in just 1 year. So
incredible.
Again, thinking about schools that are on the verge of winning championships and others that are building something again from that foundational level. Of course, you got Manchester. Eyes always on Manchester. Coach Jason Harrell starting his first year there. So be interesting to see how they go there. I know they're excited about continuing that strong athletic culture and tradition of leadership there in the football program. Getting outside of football, I got to give a little shout out to our cross country folks, Clover Hill High School last year. Actually, the past 2 years, state runner-ups for cross country. Their boys team last year actually lost on criteria, so tied with one of the schools that allowed it. But
how about
lost
that?
On a criteria, came down to their 6th or 7th runner.
Wow.
So, wow. But, you talk about kids that have just been on a mission for a few years. Volleyball out of Midlothian High School. Boys, state champions last year. Girls, year before that. So we could go on and on and on with some of these programs. Monacan Golf 2-time state champions. So there's a lot happening. Manchester High School, National Guard Cup winners for academic activities. And so that's something that we don't always get a chance to talk about with the fields, but just some talented kids and excited for it.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad we're taking the time to do it, to talk about these sports. And if we don't carve out the time, it doesn't happen, as you know. We just end up rambling on about whatever it is we ramble on about that day. But the play Chesterfield, Meadowbrook, Morgan Moses, I dare say, I don't want to predict, perhaps a future Chesterfield Sports Hall of Famer once he hangs up if he hangs up the cleats. That dude's an Iron Man. He's still out there.
Iron Man from the University of Virginia.
Oh, hadn't known. Oh, there it is. Slide it in. J.C. Poma, you're putting on with your team Chesterfield Sports Hall of Fame. Inaugural class gets inducted next Thursday. We're 8 days away. Inaugural class at 10. Some big names. Obviously, James Ferrier, Denny Hamlin, all the way on down to the people who have made this area great locally. You got softball represented, you got football represented, you got all the sports. How cool is it to be able to assemble from scratch? Like a lot of times you inherit something from scratch, a Hall of Fame. That's been a cool experience.
Well, Dr. Phillips here is on the selection committee, and I think he could probably echo this statement. It was really hard to narrow it down. I don't know that we went in thinking it was going to be a class of 10 in the inaugural year.
Yeah.
But when you put that class together, that's the inaugural class. That's what showcases our community, our schools, Chesterfield County, and it's the perfect first class. You've got two brothers in there, You have to do that. They're both amazing.
You can't separate the Watkins
brothers. You can't
brothers.
separate the Watkins brothers. But you said it best across the spectrum. So many athletes, so many teams. Next Thursday, 6 p.m. at the Perkinson Center for the Arts and Education. Tickets on sale, ChesterfieldSportsHof.com or PlayChesterfield.com. If we got a great MC, the professor, I think
MP.
that needs to go into the script now.
MP on the mic. You got Micah Bam Bam White providing a little comedic relief. It's going to be a really fun night of entertainment and stars.
We appreciate you helping us tell the story, helping schools tell their stories, and this partnership will be a lot of fun all year. Starting next Wednesday, 10:30. Each school will get one segment in each of the 3 seasons, and we're excited to have them all on each week. 3
sports seasons. We'll tip our hand here. Thomasdale up first. Wonder if we'll have anything to talk about there. It's a big school that cranks out a lot of athletes, not just football either. A ton of sports. We'll get around to the whole county though. It's going to be a ton of fun. J.C. Poma, Dr. John Phillips, thank you guys for joining us this morning. Looking forward to a great season with Play Chesterfield.
Thanks for having us on and helping us tell the story.
And one more time, give them the website for next Thursday.
ChesterfieldSportsHof.com. We look forward to seeing you there.
Come hang out next Thursday night, Chesterfield Sports Hall of Fame out there at the Perkinson Center for the Performing Arts. I've heard it's beautiful. I've not been out there
Amazing.
yet.
You'll be blown away.
You'll be blown away by the facility, the athletes, the MC, all of it. It'll be a thrilling night out there in Chesterfield. We're back with more MP on the mic right after this. You're listening to 910 The Fan, now 105.1 FM.